Hello and welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music Podcast Edition. I'm Ann Tracy. I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
Yes, and we are doing another installment of this amazing CD, Me Too Minneapolis. Yes. Today we've got Annie Fitzgerald and Elska. Thank you so much for coming. And I think we've got Linnea just entering the room, so we'll kind of sneak her in right now. And for folks who haven't seen it before, the Me Too Minneapolis is an amazing CD, an amazing effort, really to lift up the voices of women musicians in Minnesota, to kind of give a nod and offer support to anybody who's experienced any kind of sexual abuse or sexual harassment. And the funds go to Planned Parenthood Minnesota, so it's all around a fantastic deal. And if I could just get a chance to kind of ask everyone a little bit about the song, and I always like to start by who comes into the room first. So Annie, if I can ask you a little bit about how you got involved in the project, and your song, that I know that sound. Oh, and we'll do a quick, Linnea, hello, thank you.
Hi, sorry. Hi there. I was trying to get this one down and she wasn't interested in that. So I'm sorry to be.
Oh, pumpkin. That's awesome.
Nice. Well, we're delighted that you could join us.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I was just saying we'll just kind of ask everyone to kind of get started by talking a little bit about how you got involved with the project and about the song. And because I have had 3 babies and now they are older, Linnea, would you like to start, or do you want to hold on?
Waited. You guys can start. And I'll just yeah.
Fantastic. I worked in a library when my first one was a baby, and she came to work with me every day.
Oh, nice.
So sometimes that works out and sometimes it doesn't. So all right. So Annie, I'll go back to you.
Sure.
Inspiration for.
Sure. So I ended up getting involved because I got an email from Krista Valinskis at Tinderbox, and I've been lucky enough to work with her, and she forwarded this email from Misha Sumnig, who is kind of the curator of the project. And at the time I had sort of done this shift thing where if somebody asked me to do something, it was the whole, like, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no thing. And Misha had explained in his email that he really wanted to, he had 2 young daughters, and he wanted to make sure that they understood that they had sovereignty over their own bodies, and he was doing this project because of all the things. And so it was very much a hell yes right away for me. This writing of the song, I think, was, a little daunting. I have been lucky enough not to have experienced sexual violence in my life at this point in time. I mean, although being a woman in the industry, there have been plenty of close calls and very inappropriate behavior that has happened. But I am not a stranger to emotional abuse and manipulation. And so I sort of started from that place. I kind of wrote it as like a letter to myself, or like I would be writing or speaking with a friend who's going through something that maybe, I recognized. And I think it's very difficult, if not impossible, to, disassociate the emotion from, like separate it from things that have been done to our bodies and that kind of thing. So, so that's kind of how, where I came to in the writing of it. And I just tried to approach it with like empathy for myself and for others, and just with like the goal of like healing in mind. And I really think that this whole project, like the whole scope of all of it, is just so healing for all of us who wrote all of these songs. Like, these songs are so amazing. And just being able to share them and have the experience of sharing them with other women and genderqueer folk who have gone through lots of things. I just think it's really cool project to be involved in. I'm super grateful.
The imagery, I know that sound. It's eggshells cracking. It's so evocative. How did you come around to that? It's amazing.
Well, I had started the verses for this particular song through a songwriting challenge that I pop in and out of every once in a while. And so I sort of had that, and then it was just kind of, I don't know, I got really lucky one night and I sat down and I played it, and then the chorus just came. I don't know. I was like, oh, okay. Now I know where this is going, you know, that kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah. And I had an emotional response to it. And so I usually know when I'm writing, if I have an emotional response to something, that I should probably follow it. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I got the treat of seeing you sing it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. That was
Yeah, for the pre-recording for the show. You were amazing. If I thought it made me a little teary on the CD, I was wrong. It made me really teary to see it. I mean, it's an amazing song. The whole CD is amazing. So
Thank you so much. It was so lovely. The hook and ladder did such an amazing job just making everybody feel so safe. And it felt so great to be on a stage playing with Matt Patrick, who he is a producer and engineer, and he mixed my song and also played on it. And so he was there, and then my friend Steve Bosmans, who also played guitar with me, we got to, you know, just play on a stage. I mean, you guys know, like, oh my gosh, like that was a gift to be able to do that, and I can't wait to hear everybody else's stuff.
September 24th.
Yes.
September 24th.
Tickets are on sale now.
That's right. Thank you. Tickets until now. So that's, yeah. Elska, can I ask you, how did you get involved in the Shoulder of Giants?
Yes.
I can barely get through saying that one without.
So I, one of the studios who volunteered time and space to create and track some of these songs. I am fortunate enough to work with these guys and be their studio manager. And so Misha, who Annie was talking about, approached Owen and said, "Are you interested in helping with this project?" And then I was fortunate enough to be allowed on with one of my songs. It was a really interesting start to just have, hey, the hashtag #MeToo movement, run with it. And so I was sitting just not knowing which direction to go, because unfortunately there are 1,000,001 ways to take that prompt. So it was a lot of time just processing, you know, which angle to go about this. And I actually was having conversations with Owen, the producer at F5 Soundhouse, and somehow we got to talking about this concept of on the shoulders of giants and how that term is used in all sorts of communities, but he was thinking about it in the science community on how we keep making progress and new developments and new discoveries and all these things because scientists are just standing on top of each other's shoulders. And I was thinking about it with the Me Too movement, how it kind of seems like it came out of nowhere and then just dominated the conversation as soon as the movement got started. But really, it was only possible to grab as much attention as it was because of the generations of fighting that came before us to allow us this opportunity to share our stories and stand up and fight and stand by each other and really allow the space where people can be vulnerable and honest. And we still have a ways to go, but just this moment that we're living in is only here because of how many people who came before us and made themselves targets. I mean, I can't imagine having to fight some of the fights that they went through. And so I kind of wanted to pay tribute to the women that came before us and then the massive community that's around us now saying, nope, we're going to keep standing up. We're going to keep telling our stories. And that's how that all kind of evolved.
It is. I think what I like so much about it, and what really kind of pulls on my heartstrings with it is I think sometimes we are stronger because we know that we are protecting our daughters, our sisters, our mothers, and there's a responsibility when you're standing on the shoulders of giants too.
Right. And it kind of takes the pressure off the one individual to just know that you're not only a part of a present community that's in this fight, but a part of just the latest link in a whole chain of people fighting this same fight.
It's a strong message. You just do it so beautifully. That imagery is just, and I'm kind of a sciencey chick. I'm glad to hear it came from the science background. Fantastic. Mary Boo, welcome.
Thank you. So happy to be here. Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late.
Nope, we knew you were going to be. It's all good. I'm just asking everybody to talk a little bit about how they got involved and kind of the inspiration for the song. And we're now, Linnea, is now a good time for you? You may not be able to see Mary that she's got a little, oh, there you go, little guest. Oh.
Oops, there we go.
There we go. Hello. Sorry, yeah. I know I have to pace with her, so I'm kind of like just in constant motion tonight. But I also became involved when Misha reached out last fall, and I had actually just found out that I was pregnant. And so when he said that not only was this going to be a project that gave voice to the Me Too movement, it was also going to be working to support Planned Parenthood. I was like, absolutely, because I've only ever had, I mean, Planned Parenthood was where I got all of my healthcare in my 20s. They saved my life when I had an ectopic pregnancy and diagnosed that in time for me to be able to have surgery. And as Annie was saying, I've been, in the music scene for long enough with lots of dudes that I've had a lot of near misses and have experienced, having a drink drugged and just those sorts of things where it's like, these are experiences that happen often, like it sounds so dramatic, but it's something that happens way too often to women. And it's not that we're putting ourselves in situations where like that should be expected. Like that's not what it is. This is just real life. This is us being involved in the arts. This is us like living our lives and having situations where we need to have our autonomy. And so when he brought up this compilation and started to tell me who else was involved, I was like, absolutely. I haven't done much songwriting of my own in a long time. I've kind of been collaborating with other people or backing up other artists or playing in my band, Rogue Valley. So having the challenge and the opportunity to do something for this kind of compilation and within the company of these women was like, yeah, that's something I'm interested in. So, and I actually was so sick for the first 2 trimesters of my pregnancy that I wasn't able to really do much work on it until my 3rd trimester. And so it kind of all hit, like I was very, very pregnant. And then suddenly like we're in a pandemic lockdown and it's like, all right, well, I'm going to go in the basement and write my song. So write and record and yeah.
Nice. So this little one is born during the pandemic. That's got to be
She's 5 months. Yeah. Just isn't really that into sleeping. So I think she wants to get out and see the world like all of us.
I think so. But then in the song Wait for Us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I actually landed on A Part as my title, but Wait for Us is the theme that goes through over again. And it was, I think I sent a version of it to Misha that was still titled Wait for Us at one point. So yeah.
I like that. I like you've got the take a chance, make a choice. That was the line in there that just really struck me.
Yeah, I think the whole song is about taking care of each other and taking care of ourselves and making choices that like I'm a little over 8 months, or 8 years and 8 months sober. And the one thing I remember being told when I was newly sober was that you should just always just think about doing the next right thing, like make the next right choice, in the interest of what you need to remain healthy. And that struck me kind of as just as a guiding principle too, in the context of taking care of yourself after, maybe you've had an experience that violated your boundaries, or, that you need, or you're coming back from something that needs healing, and that all you can really do is in the moment make the next choice to do the scary thing or stand up for what you need in that moment. So that was kind of the idea, like maybe you need to have a glass of water right now and consider your next steps, and maybe you need to just do the thing that will take care of you in this moment so that you can do the next thing.
I like that, but because I also think it gets to the point of what you may have said yes to yesterday, you don't have to say yes to tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's fair to move the goalposts, and it's change the rules. That's I think it's one of the things we have to remind ourselves, to remind the people around us. It's fair to do that.
I think that maybe the thing you need to take care of yourself today kind of brings your world in more, like that you were feeling a little bit more open to certain things, and then you need to regroup and take a new direction, maybe. Yeah.
I like that. That's great. And I like knowing that came in a third trimester. It is a very sort of a nurturing thought. So I like that. That's good. So at least two things came out of that time.
Right. Yeah. I actually had her when I was so I'd written the song and had a demo, and then I had her, and then in that first month and a half of her being around, she would sleep enough where I could go downstairs and steal away some time and record. So, yeah.
Oh,
nice. Nice. She is cute. It does bring me back. I love a bald baby. Mine were.
Right. Yeah. She's starting to. Yeah. Much more. Just in the last 2 weeks, there's more hair. There's more awareness. There's more. Yeah.
Nice. Did you know you were having a girl when you were writing this? Did that have an impact?
I did, yeah. And I have a little boy. I have a 4-year-old. Okay. And yes, I found out that I was having a girl way back in September, and that definitely impacted my decision to just say, I know, can you chill just for a second? To say yes to the project, too, because raising a girl in our society, and it's new for me, it's new for her. I feel very protective, but I also want to give, I want her to feel like any opportunity is open to her. I don't want to I don't want to give her a sense of fear about anything either. So that was what I was thinking about too, where it's like, I want her to feel, I don't want her to come in with any preconceived notions about what it means to be a girl. I want her to kind of blaze her own path. Nice. So yeah.
Nice.
So we can help our little girls. I'm all for that.
And teach our little boys how to help.
Yeah, that's another thing. I have a lot of conversations about consent with Ori. Mm-hmm. I mean, even if it's just something like, will you please not bite my face? He's just in that stage of things where it's like, okay, this is a good opportunity to okay, wait, I guess I'll pass things on, and you to get taking over. Thank you.
So cute. Mary, that takes us to you. You want to tell us a little bit about how you got involved with the project, and then your song, How to Forgive Your Rapist.
Well, I just feel I can't wait to rewatch this video and hear what everyone else said. I am really, I was resistant to listening to the whole album, but I did just on a long drive this week, and it's really phenomenal and so much variation and just gorgeous songwriting. So Yay. So, yeah, Misha reached out to me. He had heard my petty misdemeanor song. I wrote a song in, well, 2016 or so, about I was sexually assaulted in 2006. And 10 years later, I felt this like burning desire that it just like came out of me. Like the song is pretty much like literally what happened in the song is what happened. And I put it on an EP, and yeah, it was actually like right before the Me Too movement really exploded. And it just felt like, wow, like this is incredible that now people are really speaking up and shining light on all this stuff, and it's horrifying but like so necessary and just to yeah, again, just to shine the light on the darkness, I guess. So Misha had heard that song and then invited me to do this, and I've been, since writing that song, I kind of knew that I would be speaking about this a lot. But it's actually like this project, so it's been really hard for me. It's really been
Okay.
like it's been really taking. I think I need because it's like emails every day coming in, and my song is like so much about like again what happened like at this very visceral level, and I know that there are other songs on that are about the same thing, but it's like yeah, the whole thing is about that. So it's just kind of being like bombarded every day with like having to look at this again and again and again and again, and so so yeah, I guess I'll just segue into my song. It's about this idea of having to forgive people that have wronged us, and I think one of the lines is I've been trying to forgive myself. Like the only person that needs forgiveness
Yeah.
is myself, because that's like that victim blaming, which happened to me about like me being drunk, me dancing in a nightclub, and then the whole community. It happened in Florida with this like within this little like artistic community, and they're like, well, you were drunk, you know. So it's kind of about like, well, like I have to I sort of took that in as like, okay, maybe this is my fault, in some way if I hadn't been drinking, but no, it's never our fault.
It's never.
So yeah, I feel a little worked up thinking it's such an important project, and Planned Parenthood also has been extremely helpful in my life, and I'm fully in full support of this project and hope that we raise tons of money for them and empower other people to share their stories and find support. And I know that everyone who contributed to this record can be a support to me and to anyone who listens. So yeah.
Yeah. I think it's that idea that you have to forgive yourself is important, and then in the same breath it frustrates me because you shouldn't have to think about having to forgive yourself. It should, it should be clear. It should be clear to everybody that it's not.
Yes, yes, 100%. It's very twisted. And it definitely should not. And hopefully, hopefully this awareness can really start to permeate the consciousness in a healing force, just like waves of healing, so people will stop doing this so that the pain can start to cease for the upcoming generations.
Right.
So,
And I
yeah.
think we're gonna, some of us have 5-month-olds and some of us have 16-year-olds who sneak in through the
Nice.
Hey, Mary, like you were saying that hopefully, people are impacted by it. I've been helping Misha with some of the social media stuff, and we've already gotten a few women who have, and gender queer folks who have reached out saying like, I'm inspired by this and how can I get involved and
Awesome.
and all of that. And that's been really, I don't know, really inspiring to see, even though it's, all of it is, it's heavy.
It is heavy. That's awesome to hear. Yeah.
Well, and I think we're at a time when, I mean, there's COVID, obviously, which in a weird way gives everybody a little bit more time to do, you need to be more selective. I think, you know, as Mary, as you were or Annie, you were saying, you know, if it's not a hell yeah, it's a hell no. I mean, you know, be selective in that kind of way. But then I think with all of the murder of George Floyd and all of that, I think we're tearing down barriers anyways. And it's, you know, I think sometimes starting anew and recognizing the intersectionality of all of it, you know, it's, people are ripe to getting involved. And I think that the timing for this couldn't, I guess any time is a good time. But I do think people are ready to hear it. People are ready to take it on board.
I think people are paying more attention now too, because they have the time, and because they're in front of their computer screens more, and they're, you know, paying more attention to things, hopefully, because there's so much going on in the world, you know. I think you're right, for sure.
Yes, if you guys, I'm just so frustrated that not everybody has access to it yet, because I want to talk about it to everybody all the time. It's, I mean, I think when people do that, there are so many good messages. I mean, I think one of the things that's come up tonight a little bit is that, you know, we want to give women, non-binary folk, femme, the power to not even feel like you have to forgive yourself, just to be you, and to be, you know, and to understand that it doesn't matter, you know, we should be able to have a few beers and dance at night. We should be able to walk to the SA and back at night. You know, there's a whole lot of things that we should be able to do. We should be able to, you all should be able to book a show without having to worry about if there are any, you know, and when somebody comes up to you after a show. So I think it's kind of recognizing that you need to have your power. And then it's how can we get the world to come along with that?
Awareness, I think. I mean, just people need to talk about it, and it's hard to talk about, obviously, but like I think the more people talk about it, the more people become aware, and that's really the only way it's gonna keep moving and growing and get to that healing space.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, for Annie, for you saying the emotional abuse, I feel like that is extremely difficult to recognize for yourself, because physical, you can go, yep, that's wrong, but emotional seeps in. And I love how you said you had to write it, like disassociate and write, because you don't recognize it. If you were talking to your friend, you'd be like, that's messed up. But for yourself, like Mary was saying, well, we blame ourselves and we did this or deserve that, whatever. And then
The spiral.
Yeah.
The spiral and the talking yourself out of it. And I know, I mean, I think like the emotional and the actual, like I said before, like the physical act and then the emotional stuff, you can't, like, it's impossible to separate any of it. Like, we're all human beings, and, you know, I think there's always that spiral, not recognizing it and talking yourself out of it. I know I listened to the interview you guys did with Ashley and Sarah and Maida and
Tina.
Yes, and Tina and
Jor.
We are now combining the two nights.
I can't remember because they all were awesome, and
we're confusing the parties, but yes,
we are. They were all amazing, but I think the one thing that Ashley said was, she was like, this thing happened, and it was an awful thing, and she said, and I ended up sitting and like holding him and telling him it was okay afterwards. Like, how fucked up is that? It's so fucked up. It's the most fucked up, but like with all of the spiral, like it's not just always, and I think a lot of these songs highlight all of that. Like, it's not just always like somebody followed me down a dark alley and it happened and I had to move on from it. It's you're friends with these people, or you're whatever, or you're in a community and artistic community, and this happens, and then you have to be around all these people and whatever, and all of the things that happen with it, where you start talking yourself out of it, you start doubting yourself, you start, like should I talk about it? Should I not? Should I bury it? And I think for me, I just have spent a lot of time burying a lot of stuff, and that's just not, I'm at an age now where I'm done with that. So.
Well, I think too, it's in human nature to try and make sense of the things that happen to us in the world around us. And then when something like that happens where it should never happen and it's not natural and it doesn't make sense, then we get stuck in those places where we try and justify it, or we try and change the story in our heads to be able to sleep at night, or to, you know, keep waking up in the morning. And that's where the twisting, I think, really happens, and it's just not living with it.
You're so right. You're so right. And I think that, I don't know, I mean, it's so difficult to just sit with things and just to spill it all out and just to say, this is, you know, this is what happens. But I think ultimately, like, if we can really truly do that, that's how we can heal and we can get to the other side. And I think that every single, you know, person on this record, songwriter who wrote a song, did that. And what a gift, you know. Pretty cool.
Well, and I think you guys do such a nice job that it will call more people to the table. You are the generation of giants now, you know, and people will be able to climb up on your shoulders and do what they need to do, you know, because it's the hard thing about it when it comes to the music industry, or so much of it when it's really very predatory, is that person somehow has control of you outside of your body too. You know, they're responsible for your job, your education, the place you live, whatever it is, and that's where you run into the balance of, well, you know, I really do want to play at that place. I really do want to live at that place. I really did want to get to it, you know, get a good grade, but not like that, you know. Trying to figure out.
I think when we spoke with Jora and stuff, she said there's no HR, so unless you guys are coming out and saying it, you know, and everybody can stand together, like, nope, not working with this guy, or however, that's what you have to do. I can't imagine not having somebody to go to and going, this happened, like they said, like, otherwise, you know, oh, don't wreck his life. It's just that little thing, like, overlook it, or, you know, you want to play your song, so don't rock the boat. I can't imagine. I couldn't do it. I would be like, Do you feel moving forward, since you guys are getting more comfortable, because standing on the shoulders of giants and, you know, getting easier and easier, do you feel a more sense of safety or awareness of other people to kind of I don't want to say have your back, but support each other, I guess?
Yeah, I think, I mean, looking at the list of this album, and I know I could reach out to any of these people potentially and feel supported within this community by all of us. And then on the flip side, like, all of the things that have come out about, maybe you've already talked about this before I showed up, but just all the breakdowns of our music scene, and all the awarenesses coming out. So being more aware of that too, and like who's on the shit list or whatever. So yeah, there's this hand of support, and then this hand of what not to do, I guess, if we can handle that, or if we can make that happen. Well, if we have shows again.
Ouch.
Oh, you're going to. We will. We have to.
I know.
But it kind of brings up another interesting fact about the timing here is it does give people time, because, you know, when you all go back to shows, when we all go back to shows as music lovers, it's going to be entirely different. So much easier to roll in As I said, with my tech background, get rid of the legacy and just make it all new. You know, there'd be hope that there'd be some room for some of that. I'm just saying, this is how we do it now.
I think there's also just kind of, I mean, I think it started a few years ago, but there's sort of a really beautiful community that is, you know, has been built to support each other. Like Mary said, all of the people that are on this record, but also lots of other women and genderqueer folks in the scene that are now like, we're all aware of each other. We're all kind of there to help each other. And there are, you know, not only musicians, but DJs and, you know, PR people and different, you know, facets of the industry that are all sort of banding together so that we can kind of have each other's back around all of it. Because I think that, you know, the pandemic and the uprising and all of it is just bringing to light so many things that need to change. And I feel like if, you know, now's the time, and you know, as much as we can do that in our sphere of the world, and I feel like there are people that are ready to do that in our community, and that is really a wonderful thing.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Elska, please.
Kind of on that same train of thought, just reinforcing the idea of constantly keep making noise and speaking up about it and not fatiguing, because it's so, I feel like it really is easy to, you know, at the end of the day, like nothing is going to change, but really just finding the persistence to just keep going. And I think that's the beautiful thing about these kinds of projects and communities, where you can, like, when somebody starts to tire out, the other, you know, we got to keep moving. We got to keep moving forward. And so I think that these are just really beautiful opportunities for people to come together and just keep the push forward.
That's really important. And Annie, do you want to tell us a little bit about the Valkyrie Music Collective? Because that's an effort to really kind of get people moving forward.
Sure. So back in the fall, myself and some other colleagues that are musicians and artists were talking about starting, like really ultimately what we wanted to do was find a space that could be a collective for women and genderqueer folk in the area to just have space, because it costs so much money to record an album these days and have PR and all the things, and we're all doing our own careers. And if we could figure out a way to like come together and help each other and have a space to do that and have a performance space and whatever. And so we started looking at some really amazing spaces, and then pandemic happened. So we decided to sort of pivot and do we did an online festival that Mary was a part of, and we were, you know, sponsored by the Current and the Dakota and like a bunch of amazing people. And it was right when the pandemic hit, and so we had all this momentum. We were like, screw all this stuff, we're just gonna whatever. And now we're like, and then the uprising happened, and now we're like, we're 5 white women. We need to fix that. So we're trying to figure out how to fix that, and then you know, move forward hopefully with another online festival maybe this winter. If you guys are watching, I hope you're okay that I'm talking about this right now. But yeah, hopefully that, and then, you know, I don't know, you know, just try to help raise voices in the community, and you know, we just all want to come together and help each other and all the good things. So
I think that's awesome. And I think, you know, as Elska said, that's kind of what we need. We needed somebody, you know, to know that when you got to tap out for whatever,
yeah,
you need an afternoon off, or you've got a 5-month-old, whatever that tap out might be, you know, you could have someone who's going to be there.
Right. Or even just like, hey, I'm putting out a record and I can't do all this myself. Can you help me with a PR? Or can you help me like with, who do you know as a, you know, what's a resource list for amazing photographers, and can you tell me about them? And like, you know, just that kind of thing, like just so we can just take some of the busy work and just be able to sit and create, because that's the whole point, you know? So yeah, hopefully, I don't know, we'll see what happens. Pandemic needs to be done. It will be done. Can't wait till it's done.
We'll eventually. You're only 1 day into school. We've been doing it for
Optimist.
2 weeks now. To tell you.
An optimist.
No, after you, especially given your experience here, what have you learned? What advice would you give to your younger self after your participation here? And Annie, I'll start with you because you had to know it was coming because you've watched the other interviews.
I was the first to log in.
That's right.
I also, I think that I would tell my younger self that that little voice inside that always tells you all the things, even when it's really quiet, just trust it all the time because it's always right. Always, 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 always right. Trust it. Trust yourself.
That's good. I like that. I like that. Elska, you were next in the room. In the Zoom.
Annie, that's a good one. I was thinking like I wish I would have started believing in myself sooner. I wish I would have stopped doubting and stopped giving myself a million reasons not to do something and just did the thing. Just start earlier and just go for it. And so I don't know that I had a voice to listen to. I'm sure probably deep down in there somewhere, but just instead of listening to the noise, I could have just shut it out sooner.
I like that instead of just listening to the noise.
I was going to say maybe you're faster now, so you're going to catch up. So you can look at it that way.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
Mary, any advice to your younger self?
Not everyone has to like you. I very I people pleased to my assault. Let's say it was a little groomy tactic where somebody's not talking, I should go talk to them and be nice to them, and then it was like, oh, so yeah, to like detriment, being people pleasing to the detriment, like not everyone has to like you. So yeah, but also what both Elska and Annie said, just that doubting and that intuition. Get rid of the doubt, listen to the intuition. Yes. We would be so highly evolved.
Yes. Yes. Well, I think that's a good message too. I have to let that not everybody has to like you. As I said, I have 3 daughters, 16 to 22 soon. That was one of the ones that I really kind of worked on with them because it's one of the things I suffer from myself. And you would just, and it's funny because you see it, sometimes you see it more from other people's perspective. You know, when someone's like, I don't think the Girl Scout leader likes me. And you look and you're like, I don't think so. It doesn't matter. Who cares? I mean, don't worry about it. Be you. Be you. What do they, you know, just be you. So I like that very much. Good. We'll remind people, MeTooMinneapolis, and you can pre-order it now. You can make a donation, and the money goes to Planned Parenthood Minnesota. The CD release is September 24th. It will be presented virtually from the Hook and Ladder. What am I missing, friends? I got it. And I want to have a Zoom for the whole world once everybody can listen to it, because I just think every song, so there's several different genres on here, but just the different messages, but the power in singing about the power of women, femme, non-binary folk. I just think it lifts us all up. So thank you very much for lifting us up.
Thank you so much, Anne, for all of your support with everything. You've been such a help, and we're all grateful.
So I think, you know, both for us, I think, Heather, you'd agree, it's just been an honor. It's an honor to. Here's what's funny. Not only did I go to an all-girls high school, I went to an all-women's college. So I'm a big believer in, you know, and it's great to see that renewed spirit it's really great to see that renewed spirit. I think it, as you said, it would, when we all start listening to our intuition all the time,
Watch out.
watch out. And I'll slip this in. We better do it before voting day in November. So on that note, thank you.